Hey, I'm Barmy, I'm a professional game designer, and today I want to answer two simple questions. What is Monster Train? And should you buy it? Monster Train is a game made by Shiny Shoe, which is a studio I had never heard of before, so I thought we would have a quick look at what they have done before. Well, they have remastered some games, so they have done Day of the Tentacle remastered, they have done Full Throttle remastered, and they also ported the Banner Saga to console. Monster Train is not their first original game. They have made Death's Door and Death's Door Aftermath before, but Death's Door it's kind of an odd little beast. So what this is basically Twitch plays Pokemon, but as like a full release. Kind of an odd little beast, to be honest. So it's also a roguelike adventure, as it says right here. And it is played by Twitch chat, is the idea at least. Although it appears that eventually they made a deal with Mixer and then started streaming in there. However, if you go check out the Mixer page today, you will see that the game isn't actually being streamed anymore. And simultaneously, if you check out the official website for it, there isn't much to be found. So currently, it seems Monster Train is the only available commercial release of Shiny Shoe. Well then, let's have a look at what Monster Train is all about. Monster Train, as they describe it on their Steam page, is a strategic roguelike deck building game with a twist. Set on a train to hell, you'll use tactical decision making to defend multiple vertical battlegrounds. With real-time competitive multiplayer and endless replayability, Monster Train is always on time. This game was released on the 21st of May 2020, so very recently, and it's currently priced at €20.99, although with a 10% discount until the 28th of May. At this point, I want to say that I have talked to some people. I've talked to people from Southeast Asia and South America, and apparently the game is cheaper there, like pretty significantly cheaper. I heard prices as low as $10. So there seems to be some regional differences there, which is cool. I have no problem with that, but I'm just bringing it up to say that your mileage on the cost of this game may vary a bit. Anyway, I think that's enough context. Let's have a look at the game itself. We're gonna jump straight into single player. Multiplayer is not really the main appeal of this game. This being a roguelike means that every run you play is different and also a new game. As in, there is no leftover components from previous runs other than things you have unlocked, right? New tools you get available, or new tools that become available to you, but the basic idea is still that you start with nothing. The first step in playing Monster Train is selecting a primary and a secondary or allied clan. Now, these clans determine what kind of cards you can have. There's 5 clans in total. Every clan has a so-called champion and then also a selection of cards that is only available to them. The primary clan determines which champion is available to you. So if we select the Hellhorned, we get this guy. If we select the Awoken, we get this one. The secondary clan or the allied clan determines what cards you can get. You can get an equal distribution of cards from primary and allied. There's no difference from what I can tell. But with the primary clan, you get the champion, which is a pretty significant difference, as I'll explain in a second. We're going to play Hellhorned and Awoken right here, just because it's kind of the default thing that will be available to you as well. That way I don't really spoil too much. On top of that, something I really like about this game, I think is pretty awesome. You have this button right here. You can just select random, which is super cool. I like that. I don't know. I just think it's a neat feature to just kind of randomize it. That way you can always have something a bit different, which I think a lot of people will enjoy. Down here you can see we have covenants, which are increasing levels of difficulty, where we can, as we go up, more and more stuff is added into the game to make it harder. We're going to be playing without covenant for our little game here. So, into a match we go. The first thing this game does, which is a little odd, is it tells you about the final boss. What the final boss is going to be. I think the idea here is that we get to prepare for it. It's still a little odd, in my opinion, but that's just how it is right now. So we're going to go and click OK. Here is the basic gameplay loop already shown. This is the whole thing. We have upgrades, which we can select. And then after we have done our upgrading, we go on to battle. And then afterwards, we go back to upgrading. And then we go into battle. Upgrading, battle. Upgrading, battle. All of these, right? All of these little thingies right here are upgrades. While these buttons right here are battle. You will not battle when you're handling the upgrades. And you will not upgrade while you're battling. I think that makes sense. Let me go ahead and start out by saying one thing. This game does not have a good tutorial. I will try my best to explain to you how the game works. But this is a pretty big black mark on the game, in my opinion. I don't like it very much. It is quite poorly explained. It almost seems like the creators of this game assume that you have played Slay the Spire before. But that's okay. It's fine, because it's not that complicated. It is actually a fairly straightforward game. It was just a little confusing at first, in my opinion. But let's have a look. So, the first thing we will do here is we'll upgrade our champion. So, we have this champion here, the Hornbreaker Prince. And now we can choose an upgrade for our Hornbreaker Prince. We can either get Multi-Strike 1, which means that he attacks twice every round, or we can get Slay plus 10 attack, and also just additional attack boosts, meaning whenever this guy kills something, he'll deal more damage. I'm going to go ahead and grab this right now, just because it's going to be a bit easier to work our way through the early game with it. Then we've got ourselves an artifact we can get. We can get deal 2 damage whenever an enemy unit moves between floors, or when you summon a second unit during a turn, gain free Ember, which is mana. That's what Ember is. We'll get this bad boy right here. And then into battle we go. Something I find really cool about this game is that it gives you this option of freely adjusting the difficulty of the game. So right now you can see we are fighting against the discipled Inquisitor. There we go, sorry. But if we want to, we can turn on this challenge, which makes it so that our enemies are stronger. And then we get more money at the end. That sounds like a bit of fun now, doesn't it? Alright, cool. Now I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm being a little sneaky right here. I'm being a little sneaky right here. Because I already know how this first combat goes. And so I know that our current relic is making this first combat pretty easy. But let's get into it. So, you can see that this is our battlefield. This is our train. Our train has 4 floors. We can't really do anything in the top floor. That's where the last shard of the pyre sits. Not gonna get into the lore of this. I looked into it a little bit. The basic idea is that we need to bring the last shard of the pyre into the center of hell so that hell can be unfrozen. It's kind of a bit silly, but that's how it is. Anyway, we're not really gonna be able to do anything up here. This is where our opponents are trying to go. Where we can interact is in these 3 floors. Every floor has a capacity. So this has a capacity of 5, of 5, of 5. Capacity can be upgraded later on, but right now it's just 5. Now, we can place units into these floors. So for example, our Hornbreaker Prince, which as we mentioned earlier is a cool guy. We like having this guy. Well, we can put this guy into, for example, the middle floor. And now he's just chilling here. Awesome, fantastic. Then we have spells. Spells can't be cast on any floor, so I can use this to hit this guy for 2 damage. Nice. I mean, it doesn't make a huge difference, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Then we can just kind of like shoot this guy. We can also use Restore, which is a spell that affects our units, like friendly units, and we can use it to heal our friendly units. I can also use it on enemies, I guess. I don't know why you would want to, but you could. In theory. Now, I think right now we don't have much we can do because we only have this Hornbreaker Prince. So we're just going to chill and we're just going to go ahead and shoot this guy one more time and then we'll leave it. Now, at the end of your turn, all enemy units will go up a floor. So these two will travel up one level to be in this area. Their goal is to get all the way up to the pile. So you can see they go up. This is again where I was being a little bit sneaky because the jack strips, they deal 2 damage whenever an enemy unit moves between floors. I already knew that that would be beneficial to us. And so I, you know, grabbed that because now these archers or crossbowmen are not able to deal with us that well. Anyway, so you can see that new units spawned into our train. They spawned in the bottom layer. This is where they usually spawn, in the bottom floor. And they will be moving up, as I already mentioned. While having a look at this right here, we can see that our Hornbreaker Prince is currently attacking this Cyber Protector, but isn't really getting much done with it. Now, as you can see, our floor capacity is currently at 2. If we look at this train steward, you can see it has a capacity of 2 as well. Or it uses a capacity of 2. So I could place this guy here. Cool. Now we have a little bit more here, which is fantastic. This allows us to kill this Disciple Protector, and then that gives our Hornbreaker Prince plus 10 attack, which is pretty sick. How does combat work? Well, the units in the center always attack first, although our opponents attack first overall. So the way it goes is that all of our opponents will attack first, and they will start from here. So this guy will attack, and then this guy will attack. Then it's our turn. And on our side, we will attack from the center to the left as well. Now, only the unit that is in front will actually be attacked. So this guy in the back here will not get hit. First, we have to kill this Forged Disciple to be able to attack the Discipled Foot Soldier. Make sense? Cool. It's honestly not that crazy. The game is fairly straightforward. We have these spells we can play right here. We can apply them to our units. And after a card is played, it goes into our discard pile. At the end of our turn, all of the remaining cards in our hand also enter the discard pile. And then at the start of our turn, we draw a new hand of cards. You can see it's kind of being a little bit sneaky here. We draw a new hand of cards out of our draw pile. Now the draw pile, if it's empty, will shuffle back in the discard pile, and then we draw from there. All fairly straightforward. Now, we have these train stewards here. You can see I can't play them here because they require a capacity of 2, and I'm already at capacity up here. But I could, in theory, play them down there. Nice. And then I can maybe even put this guy in here. So you can see now we have a nice collection of units spread across our train. You can see on this, based on this little X, that both of these units will die here, and that our Hornbreaker Prince will kill the Forged Disciple, which is pretty good for us because that gives the Hornbreaker Prince an additional 10 attack. Let's end our turn. Now, we also have mana. You can see the mana on the bottom left corner. That's our Ember, and that refreshes every turn. Now, this is where we enter into a boss stage. Now, boss stages are a bit tricky. I'm going to go ahead and roast this guy. That way we do a little bit more damage. And then we can do this, which is very good. Now we do even more damage, and then we can probably heal up our Hornbreaker Prince. Now, bosses have Relentless. Relentless functions like this. It will continuously keep going with combat until the entire floor is clear. Which means either the boss is dead, which after the boss has died, the combat is over, or all of our units are dead. So it kind of looks like this, right? We're gonna go ahead and just get this fight going. This can take a little while. Luckily, the game has a button that allows us to speed it up, which makes this go by a little bit faster. And here we go. Now this should be fairly straightforward. You can see that our Hornbreaker Prince does 38 damage against the 18 HP from this boss, which means we don't even have to do anything. Very nice, very easy, very clean. Fantastic. We get ourselves a victory, we get our score, and then we get ourselves some spoils. In the spoils, we now have first cards from our primary clan, so that we can choose a card here. To be honest, I don't think any of those are particularly good for us, so I'm just going to skip them. And then we get an allied clan pack, which is, again, our allied clan that we chose at the start, and we get to choose a card here. Let's maybe get this guy. I don't know, you can do some wild stuff with this guy. Should we get that? It's maybe a bit early. Alright, let's skip that for now. Cool. We have completed combat. Now we are back to upgrading. Here we get to choose a side. We can go either right or left. Whichever side we choose, we will only be able to get the stuff on that side. We will not be able to get anything from the other side. It's very important. So we're going to go to the right here. Because here we can upgrade units and we can get ourselves a Hellhorned unit. Kind of difficult word to say. So we've got Rail Beater and Alpha Fiend. I like Rail Beater a lot. I think this guy is super strong. So let's get ourselves one of those. Then we're gonna go into the Merchant of Steel. Now, you can upgrade stuff. And this is a very important element of the game. So you can see this is our deck right now. Right? We have mostly just this default stuff. None of it is super exciting. But we just got a new unit, the Rail Beater. Well, what we can do is we can upgrade it. For example, this Battlestone. Upgrade a unit with +5 attack and +10 health. If we put that on here, you can see our Rail Beater now has more attack and health. This, however, takes up 1 upgrade slot. So you can see all of these units, they each have 2 upgrade slots. This takes up 1 of them. It's not a bad one, but maybe let's reroll. We can reroll once. Oh, we got a Large Stone. This is what I'm always fishing for. Large Stone upgrades a unit with +1 needed capacity, but also +15 health and +15 attack and +40 health, which makes our Rail Beater looks like that. 2550. Wonderful, isn't it? Yeah. That's absolutely fantastic. I think that's about as good as we can ask for. And then we can also purge a card here so we can get rid of something. It's probably best to start getting rid of these Train Stewards early on. They're not that useful. Yeah, long term, they're just not something you necessarily want to keep. Into the next battle we go. Here we get to see, okay, what's going on. So the Cyber Conduits. Mark of Invasion. At the start of battle, enemy units appear on each floor, and an additional reward is 75 coins. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and take that. That seems fine to me. Because this allows me to introduce another new mechanic to you. Oh man, that's a lot of guys right there. Oh, awesome. We got the Rail Beater right away. So, let's get ourselves this guy going on. Look at that. That's a big boy. Get the Hornbreaker Prince behind. And then we can torch this guy in the back, which is a scary one. We want to get rid of that. And, yeah, I guess we just kind of like torch this guy as well. That seems about right. So, our pyre can fight. If something enters the top of the train, they will attack the pyre. The pyre, however, is very powerful. Not only does it have good stats with 20 attack and 80 health, but also it has sweep, is I believe what it's called, meaning it attacks all enemies. You'll see what it looks like in a second. Anyway, first we got ourselves this bad little boy right here. And then you can see, oh, these guys actually just get killed. Okay, never mind. Oh man, I'm way too clever for my own good, honestly. I didn't even consider that. Okay, well the pyre would have fought back and would have killed them. But it's of course better if we don't have to take any damage. So here we go, we got another little combat coming up. I'm gonna go ahead and kill just this guy, I think. I could kill the other one as well, but I actually would like my Hornbreaker Prince to get one of these kills, so we get another 10 extra damage. So we're just gonna go ahead and pass the turn now. There we go. Fantastic. Right now, we have a brief respite. What does that mean? Well, this is now a moment where nothing will spawn. This turn is given so that you can kind of clear out the train before you enter into the boss fight against, well, the boss. Right here, we don't even have to do anything anymore. This is already fully taken care of. So we're just going to let it happen. Very nice. All under control. And we get ourselves some more spoils. How nice is that? So, clan pack. Choose a card. We can apply rage. We can get mint. We can get armor. I honestly like Ritual of Battle quite a bit. We can upgrade it to become more powerful. Just in the same way you can upgrade units, you can upgrade spells as well. Which is actually really interesting. There's a lot of variety available there. Winegrass, Sting, or Glimmer. Not a big fan of any of this. Glimmer can be kind of fun though, so let's maybe grab that. Mostly Glimmer works well with some upgrades. Has some nice synergies there. We can get an artifact, we can get a Hellhorn unit, heal our pyre, duplicate a champion. Either way we go, we get ourselves the Concealed Cavern. Well, let's say we want to duplicate a card. Sorry, not duplicate a champion, duplicate a card. We can't duplicate the champion. We could duplicate the Rail Beater, but I don't really think we necessarily even want that right now. I think we can do that later and be more powerful. Let's go to the right, grab ourselves an artifact. 50% chance to swap the front and back enemy units when they enter your train. Apply daze to enemy units when they enter the floor below the pyre room. Oh, that's kind of nice. That allows us to just kind of overwhelm them all the way at the top. Or we can just kind of mess with their positioning. That's always pretty good, honestly. Later on, there's going to be a lot of units entering every room. If we can throw them off a bit, that's not too bad. Alright, what do we get here? Oh, Branded Warrior, Rage 4, and then Slay, apply Rage 3 to friendly units. Don't worry too much about this exact keywords here. Look, I'm not gonna get into all of those because honestly that would just take a long time and it's not that important for our purposes. We'll get ourselves the Demon Fiend. And then Concealed Caverns. Demon Fiend is a big boy. 50-50. Yeah. So, the rains of Armageddon litter the icy landscape. Both Winged and Hellborn lie peacefully in the final resting place of snow. The train finally comes to halt near fallen soldiers from both sides. Did they really believe in what they were doing? Was either side justified in this fight? But it's all irrelevant now. Survival's the only thing that matters. Besides, the weapons they've left behind may prove to be of some use in the battles ahead. What do you salvage from this ancient fight? The sword. So now we can get Most Blessed Sword. Purge, Piercing, deal 10 and then 10 times our mana damage to enemy units. The shield, Purge, apply 3 times our mana to as a damage shield, or Petrified Skull, Purge, kill a non-boss unit. Wow, that is way too good. I'm getting this one because it also doesn't use up all of our mana, which is pretty nice. Those were all very good. We found a very nice one. We got pretty lucky there. So, into the next fight we go. This fight right here is kind of like an extra boss fight. I don't know. Every combat has a boss fight, but this is like a boss fight combat. Does that make sense? It's like a super boss fight. As you can see, with this one, we weren't able to have an extra rule, so we can't really increase the difficulty on this one. Okay, we can't play the Demon Fiend. It's not quite possible for us to do that yet. How do we best handle this one? Well, I think we probably just toast this guy. We can't play the Demon Fiend because we do not have enough mana. I want to play this Hornbreaker Prince, but I do not want to place it behind a Train Steward. This is maybe a bit risky. For now, I'm just going to put these Train Stewards somewhere else. I mostly want them out of my deck. If we were to put them in the middle, that thing right there explodes anyway. It's not too important that we necessarily block that. Okay. Oh, that's maybe not great. Perfect. We got the Rail Beater. Alright, nothing to worry about then. So, here we go. It goes also really big guy, which is kind of awesome. And then we get into this next little encounter here. So, I'm gonna go ahead and just snipe this guy in the back here. It's just a bit scary. Honestly, we don't want to deal with that. No. Now, something that's really interesting is that this guy, Daedalus, is already attackable. We can actually already deal damage to this if we wanted to, or if we had the opportunity to. Right now, of course, that's a little bit tricky, but yeah. Cool. Nice quick kill. And we'll just kind of keep this going. In the meantime, there's one of those situations up at the top, so we can just burn this guy out. And yeah, no, that kills it. I was wondering for a second, but no, that does kill it. All right, cool. In the meantime, we restore down here. That's gonna be an end to that fight as well. So you can see we have it all under control. And I have to really praise the game's kind of combat here. I like it a lot. I think it's really interesting how it handles these different elements, you know, with the different layers of the tower. And honestly, I'm playing the what is probably almost certainly the simplest class, characters, whatever you want to call them. And in that way, I think if you play some of the more complex ones, you will see that there's actually quite a bit of depth to it at times. And that's pretty neat. Go ahead and take these guys down so you can see we're still just holding our line here. Alright. This, this explosive is just a bit of an annoyance. Nothing we can't handle, of course. And, well, this is where I think we just torched this guy for 2. I'm still letting... so I could have, for example, used the torch on the smaller guy there to make it so that my Hornbreaker Prince gets a hit in on Daedalus, but I wanted the Hornbreaker Prince to be able to get another 10 attack. So anyway, now this fight is already over. As you can see, we take 32 damage here, but our boss is dead. So we'll just go and grab that. And with that, we have concluded the first act. So let's go ahead and collect some stuff. We get a rare pack. Let's get Channel Song. This is actually a pretty nice one. And then there is a unit draft, so we get to choose some stuff. I like the Husk Hermit quite a bit. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with this. I guess we could try this one. Sounds kind of fun. I mean, it doesn't really matter that much. And then here we go. Here we get a major enhancement. This upgrades our pyre, as well as giving us either +1 mana, +1 cards drawn per turn, or +1 capacity on each floor. We're gonna get the mana right now. So, at this point, you have seen the core gameplay flow of this game. At its core, that's what Monster Train is. There isn't really much else missing. We can maybe have another quick look at some of these possible upgrades here. So we can upgrade merch, we can upgrade spells. Let's maybe do that really quick, that way you can see that. So you can go in here and you can say, okay, I would like to upgrade a spell to remove, consume, and increase its cost. So for example, Channel Song right there would be one. I can upgrade a spell of magic power, upgrade a spell to cost less mana. So Ritual of Battle is generally a great use of that one. But why don't we go ahead and make the Channel Song be something that isn't consumed anymore. And we can again re-roll here. And then, oh, there we go. We can make Channel Song even go back down to 1 mana. How nice is that? On top of that, after we have defeated the big boss, we get ourselves an upgrade for our champion. So you can see our Reaper now can get more damage when it kills something, or even some armor when it kills something. But let's go wild with the damage, right? I think in the end, that's what it's all about. We want to be dealing as much damage as possible. Well then, let me go ahead and start with a little bit of a critique now. I think at this point, again, you have seen the game and what the game is about. Now I would like to kind of give you some opinions on that and show you and kind of like explain what I think about it. So generally speaking, I think the core gameplay loop of this game is very good. It is simple, but it works. Going through, you upgrade your stuff, you build yourself a deck, you remove unnecessary stuff from your deck, you make it more powerful. That's all cool. I like how the game always rewards you, even if you don't get yourself, even if you don't get something useful from a pack or a unit draft, you still get. Oh, by the way, now we can play the Demon Fiend. Oh, look at this bad boy. Oh man. But even if you get yourself a bad unit draft, you can just sell it, and you just get yourself some extra money, right? You don't have to actually pick all of that stuff up, and I think that's a very nice solution to all of it. That makes a lot of sense to me. Overall, the combat I think is interesting. It's got some very solid, strong ideas. Conceptually, I like it a lot. This is, of course, where you already know a but is coming. And yes, of course there is. Of course there is. So, what are the concerns then? This game is lacking in depth. And I know that may seem a little bit odd, because I just praised how this game has this multi-layered combat system, and I just praised how I think the train system is interesting and cool. But here's the thing. From my experience with the game, it doesn't actually do that much with these systems. It keeps it all very, very simple, even with the more complex classes. And I think that's a shame. That's a real shame, in my opinion. Because I think you could have pushed this a lot more. So we're gonna go ahead and just get this win really quick. God, look at that guy just doing 114 damage every attack. It doesn't push these systems very far. Now, in of itself, I don't think that's a huge problem. And in fact, I'm gonna go ahead and give away the game right now. Give away where I am going with everything I'm about to say. This game doesn't have one big, oh, that's what's wrong with it. That doesn't exist. What this game has is a lot of small issues. It is missing polish at many different points, and a lot of these small issues just add up and compound into a bigger concern. I will try to lay out these issues right now. However, before I do that, I want to be very clear about this. I think at its core, this game is a good, enjoyable game, especially if you enjoy Slay the Spire specifically. I think then you can look past a lot of these issues, and I think you will have a fun time playing this game for a little while. Let's have a look at the issues then. We're gonna go ahead and go out of here. Let me maybe start with a super tiny, super petty one. Okay, let's maybe start with that. This is something that may seem very silly, but this is just a thing that goes into this concern I have with the polish of the game. Which is, again, this is a petty small thing, but these petty small things, they just add up over time. So as you can see, for example, right here, this is our train track. We've got Unstable Vortex, remove up to 2 cards, forge your spells to gain new powers, restore health, and then upgrade your champion. Now, if you are an experienced card game player, you will immediately know that that is not the order you should do that in. You should upgrade your champion first, you should go to the Merchant of Magic afterwards, and then you should remove cards. The order is reversed. Now, I know that may not seem like a big deal, it's just the layout. But the layout is very often wrong like this, where it's just kind of not in the correct logical order. And again, I understand that that may not seem like a big deal, but there's going to be more and more of these smaller things, and they're going to add up. Again, this is a game lacking in polish. So, let's go into the main menu so I can show you what is my biggest concern with the game. This is something that really, really bothers me. I have at this point played 11 hours of Monster Train, which is quite a bit, I would say. I don't have anywhere near everything unlocked. I have a lot unlocked for the Hellhorn. I have almost every card. I'm 37 out of 38. But I still don't have all of them. Wow, that's quite a... Well, I'm missing quite a few there, right? Considering how much time I spent on this. And if you look at this, like, look at how many cards I'm missing overall. Look at how many, these right here, these dots are the the relics, right? Look at how many relics I'm still missing. My problem here is that it takes a long time to unlock stuff. You know, you might say, well, but Barmy, clearly you haven't played with the Melting Remnant. First of all, I did, but turns out when you reset or run, then you don't get any experience for it, which I think is a bit silly. Like, I mean, I still played with them. Why do I have to die? Like, but you don't get any experience if you reset or run. I just, you know, like I was almost done with one and then I wanted to start recording and, you know, now I lost all of the experience, which I personally think is a little bit odd. Point being, I have played with them. But what is a bit odd is that a Melting Remnant, which is the last of the major tribes, keep in mind these tribes or clans are very, very important. It took me 8 hours to unlock all of them. 8 hours to just unlock the characters. Okay, so here's the thing. In my opinion, right, these sort of unlock processes should be an expanded tutorial. They should allow you, and they allow the designers, to slowly introduce concepts and complexity. And it's important to keep in mind that the value of this sort of tutorial diminishes over time. At 8+ hours, there's very little value. At that point, it just becomes frustrating. Or it becomes a matter of them just trying to stretch for content or force progression. Personally, as I've mentioned before, I'm not a big believer in this new idea that progression is required at all places, but this game seems to really think that, because it is still having me unlock things. It's having me unlock so many things. Now, that in of itself, again, not a big deal. Keep in mind, everything I'm saying right now kind of seems like a small deal on its own, but they compound. The next problem is that the game has poor balance. It really feels like there hasn't been enough testing done to make sure that all of the different strategies available to the different tribes, I don't know why I keep calling them tribes, sorry, clans, available to the different clans, that they're all viable. Because from what I can tell, they are not. I have tried a lot of different stuff with their hell bounds, I think is what they call it, right, with red. And no matter how much I try, there's only like 1 or 2 strategies that are actually worth going for. And all of them just kind of involve overwhelming your opponent with buffs. And I find that a little bit disappointing. Now, of course, that might just be because, first of all, I might be bad. Okay, sure. But secondly, it might also just be because, well, I don't have everything unlocked yet. So that limits my strategies available to me. But isn't that a problem of the unlocking process? On top of that, the game overall just doesn't have that much content. What I'm about to critique next is kind of, you know, okay. It's gonna sound a little bit unhelpful, but the card design just isn't that good. Whoever is working on the card design doesn't seem to me like somebody that has a lot of experience working on card games. Because the cards are just all actively forcing specific archetypes without generally enabling a larger scale of play. This is very difficult to do. This is very, very difficult to do, especially with a limited set of cards. But that's still ideally what you want to be able to do. And so currently, I don't feel like that is what's happening. Instead, what is happening is that you have a lot of cards within a set of cards that are just clearly designed, oh, you take all 10 of these and that's your deck. As opposed to, here's an individual big one, and then here's a bunch of other connecting pieces. Which, these connecting pieces are more valuable because you can use them in different places as well. Again, this compounds. The lack of balance, the lack of content, and then the lack of, and then the forced progression system adds up to making the game feel like there isn't really that much you can do, that many different strategies you can take, that many different approaches you can take to playing the game. And that's a real problem. It is also difficult for me to just show that. Because of course that's something you will just have to like experience yourself. I can't just like show you 8 hours of gameplay right now to like give you that same impression. And maybe you won't even have that same impression, right? This is a sort of subjective thing. I also think this game is clearly lacking in polish in other places. So for example, they reuse art a lot. This fledgling imp is the same as this impish scholar and is the same as this molting imp. And the rail beater and the steel worker is the same artwork. There's the pirate jumper. All of the imps are the same artwork at its core, right? It's just slightly altered. On top of that, the language used is a little bit weird at times. So for example, molting imp. Shouldn't that be molten imp? Okay, I know that seems very picky, but this is where I will get very picky. March of Shields. Move a unit to the front and apply armor 10. Wouldn't it make more sense to phrase that, give it 10 armor? And also, why are they units? Why aren't they like demons or creatures or something like that? Unit is a very broad term. It's a little bit odd because there's no flavor in the language used. In card games, something you can do is you can use language to communicate flavor. This is kind of tricky and difficult yet again, but it is something that is very cool and very, it helps build, what am I saying here? It makes the game feel more like a unit, makes it feel like more, makes it feel more immersive. That's the word I'm looking for. And in this game, you don't really have that much of it. Instead, you have units being described as units. You have armor just as armor, and attacking is just striking. I understand, again, this is very picky, but again, my point is here that these small things add up. As a whole, there is... I have a few more things written down. Okay, sorry. But for example, like the UI is quite weird at times, right? It doesn't really properly communicate that you're about to fight the final boss, for example. The first time I played this game, I got to the final boss. The final boss just kind of happened. And then the game was like, hey, you won! And I'm like, oh, that was the final. I didn't even know, right? On top of that, if we have a look at some of the other UI in the game, for example, if we go into the multiplayer section here, let's say we go into the daily challenge, then you will see that this background is this weird stone texture, and all of this UI is just gray, which is very odd to me. Why is it stone? Shouldn't it be metal? Or if it's stone, shouldn't it have a hell theme? I thought we are on a train. Where is the flavor in here? Again, it's just lacking that polish. What I think is going on with this game is that it is a game made by a competent developer that rushed it out. I think this game is missing 2 or 3 months of development to work on that polish. Add in a few more cards, balance it a little bit better, and just kind of, I don't know. A bit more content would be nice in general, honestly. You always fight the exact same bosses in the exact same order, that too. Now, I want to be very clear about this. Very clear about this. I do not think that this game is a bad game. I think this game is a good game that needs a little bit more time and a little bit more work done on it. And that is where my recommendation would also go. If you liked what you saw, and you're somebody that has played 1,000 hours of Slay the Spire and is like, oh my god, Slay the Spire is just coming out of my ears. I need something that can take me away from Slay the Spire for 10 hours and then I can come back to Slay the Spire again. Monster Train is perfect for you. Go get it right now. You'll have a fun time for a little bit and then you'll want to go back to Slay the Spire and then maybe you can take breaks from Slay the Spire once in a while. If this game looked interesting to you, but you're somebody that is bothered by a lack of polish, and you're somebody that wants to be able to play lots of different strategies, I say wait. Wait like 2 or 3 months. Summer sale is coming up. See if the game is on sale. Buy it for $15. Buy it for $10. Or just give it some more time to add in that polish. All of the things I brought up are very fixable. They're easy fixes too. They don't require a lot of programming. They just require one game designer to sit down and hash it all out a little bit. It's all very possible. And I think it would really help improve the game overall. Let's have a quick look at what else there is though. So there's multiplayer. There's this Hell Rush mode. This is just kind of like a simultaneous time trial. Well, not so much a time trial. It's just like a speedrun tournament, right? Like whoever makes it the furthest or gets there the fastest or has the most points. I didn't really like it that much. One of the biggest things that bothers me about it is that I played it and then everybody else died. And then the game just ended and I'm like, but I liked my team, it was kind of cool. We have this daily challenge. Here you can have a look at, like this kind of daily challenge where you've got some modifiers and such, and then you can play it, which is super cool. I like that a lot. Simultaneously, similarly, you've got the custom challenge where you can create your own daily challenges. You can select your primary clan, your allied clan, and then mutators. There's lots of them, which is super cool, right? There's quite a few. You can even randomize it, which is awesome. Increase the covenant rank. Yeah, it's just great. Honestly, I think it's super fantastic. And finally, our options menu here. So, solid-ish options menu. It looks more impressive than it is, sadly. Because the resolution options are just sad. Well, it's kind of depressing, honestly. At least it has borderless window, which is very good. And something that's kind of funny, it has lots of keybinds. As a card game, I've never used a single one of them, but there's a ton of them. Very interesting. Not sure why that is, but that's how it is. I don't know. Kind of cool. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's definitely an accessibility feature. And then audio sliders are fine. So yeah, that is Monster Train. Again, it's available on Steam right now if you want to give it a shot. I personally am probably not going to keep playing it. I hope that this didn't come across as being too harsh on the game. Again, it wasn't that there isn't anything big wrong with it. It's just lots of smaller things that add up. Okay, and I think they can fix it, and I hope they do. Alright, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, maybe share the video with somebody that might be interested in Monster Train. I'm hoping to do more of these reviews, and that is really the best way for me to be able to do that. If you have any suggestions for a game that you would like me to review next, please tweet at me. I am on Twitter at Captain Baumi. There's a link in the description. You can just go ahead and have a look there. And that's pretty much it. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.